Alright, let's get started. This is like seriously take three. Third time I've done this. Still a noob when I'm coming to this equipment that I'm using on my computer. Hopefully this time I can do like a smooth playthrough of this. Oh, there's the demo. Let's skip that. So for the first time, oh my gosh, I'm already messing up. For the third time, my name is Ottermelon. If you're a newcomer to my channel, welcome. If by some strange reason, like I don't even understand why, you are a returnee, don't ask me what happened to my old videos. Those are dark days. Hopefully we can put that all behind us, and I can bring like content that's less garbage. Basically, I know. Trust me, if you saw that, if you were there for those times, you don't want to know. And if you weren't there for those times, you don't want to know. Anyway, this is going to be a reboot of sorts. We're going to get into Tokyo Xtreme Racer 2 here. Made in 2000 by Genki for the Sega Dreamcast. And it's pretty much a street racing game. Kind of like Midnight Club, I guess, or Need for Speed, but not really. I think it's really unique. Its mechanics are very unique, so and it's probably one of my favorite racing franchises. To be honest, I haven't played that many racing franchises, but still, it's definitely up there. We're gonna get started anyway. For those of you who don't know anything about the franchise, I have a feeling that like a lot of people who watch this kind of stuff do know, like are pretty familiar with it. Probably want to watch it because nostalgia, what have you. But just in case you are a newcomer, you are interested in playing the 16-year-old game or any of its sister titles, I'm gonna walk you through it real quick. Pretty easy, pretty simple to grasp. So we're gonna get started. Pick quest mode, which is the main mode, and the first thing that you can do is pick a car, and you're given a class to pick from. And for the most part, like not always, there's some overlap, but for the most part, Class A cars are the best, Class B cars are the second best, and Class C cars are the worst. There is some overlap, but just to give you an idea, you start out with 15,000 credits. That's the currency system in this game, and that is not even close to being able to afford these starter cars. I mean, you have the Supra RZ that's like 45,000. The Nissan Silvia S15, which is almost there. I think it's the cheapest starter A-Class. The Skyline R34, which, I'm sure it's a pretty popular car. Also very good. Kind of on the heavy side, but still very good. I'm not going to look at that for very long. I'm just going to feel bad about how poor I am. So, the B-Class cars are probably, the C-Class cars are, like, okay. They can get you for, like, some of the early stages of the game, and I think some of the better C-Class cars can actually get you through the first half of the game if you're lucky, or most of it anyway. But the B-Class cars, where you pretty much want to start out, and even some of these are kind of expensive. The Toyota Altezza, I know it's too much. I kind of want to drive it, but I heard it's not that good. Toyota Celica, also I think it's not bad. My previous starter, I've actually played through this game kind of recently, but my previous start is the Nissan 180SX. It's pretty good. Didn't really get you that far though, or didn't get me that far. I had to buy like an A-Class car before I finished stage 1. So maybe I just wasn't a good enough driver, but it's within my price range. I'm not going to pick it again though. I think I have too much frustration associated with that. Here's the Nissan Silvia S14. I think it's one of the best B-Class cars, and also affordable, so it's a great starter. I think I'm going to pick it, but just to walk you through the rest of the B-Class. Here's a Honda Integra, another Honda Integra. I don't really know what the difference is. I think any differences are like pretty trivial. And lastly, we have the, what is this? Oh, it's the Mitsubishi FTO, that's right. I kind of like it, it's cool, but also out of the price range. And lastly, the RX-7 Infinity 3, which is, it's pretty good, but there have actually been playthroughs already that have used the Infinity 3 as a starter, particularly Thunder, so it seemed like less of a copycat. I'm going to pick the S14. we're gonna rename it here because a lot of these cards have all these cards have code names. Genki didn't get the licensing rights to these cards, so they just kind of had to make them knockoffs. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me. They're still like really easily recognizable, even though they were probably afraid of like people associating their cards with like this dangerous racing game, even though it's ridiculously unrealistic. Like, if I drove like the way I drive in this game in real life, I'd be dead. So we're at the garage. Here you can, customize your car settings, look at your opponents, buy some new parts, buy new cars, that kind of thing. We actually have some leftover credits, so let's upgrade this car just a little bit. Give it a little bit more power and take some of the weight off. That's all we can afford, though. The muffler is, I mean, I'm not sure like how much an improvement like just the muffler is gonna do, but anything helps, even at this early stage in the game. So the main feature of the garage is go out and go race, and that's what we're gonna want to do because this is a racing game. If the it defaults to the C1, which is one of the stretches of highway. It's probably the first one you want to go to. The rivals here the opponents here are the easiest, and it defaults to the inner too. So we're gonna want to go there. Just pick Shift Assist on because I'm a noob. So I'll take the loading screen to explain how this game works. So it drops you off at like any of your designated starting points, and unlike dropping you off like right into a race like other racing games would do, there's a bit of an open world element. You have to drive around a little bit to find like, because the other cars that are out at this time are also just like looking for people to challenge or to challenge them, and you're supposed to be that guy that challenges them. So as you can see, they're designated by blue arrows on the map. So what we're gonna do is, luckily it's pretty short distance, so we're gonna, oh, well that kind of sucks. Our first up is actually a Wanderer, and this isn't that great for an introduction, because watch this. I'm gonna challenge him. You challenge opponents in this game by flashing your headlights or your high beams at them, and he's gonna reject me. And just a bit of an explanation: Wanderers in this game are not associated with any team. They're kind of like you, the protagonist. They just are kind of looking for random people to challenge just for the heck of it. And as you can see, I got rejected I couldn't battle him because he has, as many Wanderers do, they have requirements. Like, there are certain prerequisites you have to read to be able to challenge them. I think there are some that you need you need to have a certain amount of money. Others like only appear like certain days of the week, like on like days that are multiples of 5 or 10, like that one. Kamikaze Ken is what is his rival name. He appears every 3 days, I think, and you have to have like a minimum amount of wins. I think it's like 25. It's either 25 or 10. Could be none of them. I mean, I could be totally wrong. So yeah, they're not like the ones that you can't challenge just like willy-nilly. They have requirements because the payouts that they give, because every time you beat a rival in this game, you get money from them. The payouts are they can be pretty handsome. So unfortunately, we couldn't get one from him, so kind of sucks. But it's all good. We're gonna go on here and hopefully this next rival is not a Wanderer, and we can actually get into the meat of this game, which is finding rivals to challenge. Because rivals, instead of, with a couple of exceptions, mostly Wanderers and some other opponents, most of the rivals in this game appear in teams, and you have to beat every team to progress. And they just kind of spawn randomly. As you'll see in a bit, like most of the teams don't really offer up that much of a challenge. Here's our first opponent for the night, as I'm about to demonstrate, and it is actually from the first team that you probably should beat because they're arguably the easiest. This is Team Rolling Guy, and for fans of the series are probably very familiar with Team Rolling Guy because they show up in like every game, and they're like, oh man, yeah, this is sorry, sidetrack a little bit. Every time like I think you're in a race and more than two cars are like on the screen, they're like driving at a certain speed. It's just not pretty. So there's like it's lag. It's like a game design issue. There's always like it lags a bit, but not really a big issue. And sorry, I'm gonna explain the battle system real quick. Um, Unlike a lot of other street racing games where you just have to go to a designated point from start to finish, this is more like Japanese fighting game style, like think Street Fighter or something like that. Because instead of like traveling a set distance, you're given like a set amount of health, and that health depletes over time if you are behind, or if you crash into walls. Kind of like it doesn't deplete that much when you crash into walls. There are other penalties for that, but yeah, if you're behind, it depletes, and the farther behind you are, the faster your SP depletes, and same goes for your opponent. So basically, the goal is kind of the same as any other racing game, to outrace your opponent, but the standards by which that happens is a little different. Because of the SP bar, it depletes at like certain set rates. Races don't have like set lengths. They can be really short if you get lucky and your opponent like crashes or spins out, or you make them crash, what have you. Or they can be really long if you're close in skill, like they're like constantly tailing you, that kind of thing. So that race was pretty short. I mean, I guess he's just not that good. Okay, and that just kind of happens sometimes. Regular team members aren't supposed to. They're always supposed to battle you if you challenge them. But sometimes that happens. You just have to challenge them again, flash your high beams real quick, and they'll like act like that never happened. So back to Rolling Guy. Team Rolling Guy, like I said, shows up in like every TXR game, and they're like the starter team. They're always some of the easiest to beat. They have like pretty crappy cars. They always drive like Sprinter Truenos and Corolla 11s. So yeah, not the best cars, but they're really dedicated. Like they always drive the same cars, and like they always get smoked, but they're pretty dedicated at their craft. Even with my Sylvia S14, with like it's pretty stock except for the muffler, but I'm already no contest. He might have crashed too. I mean, that could have helped, but anyway, I think where's my battle music? It's not showing up. The battle music in this game like cycles between like 3 tracks, so it's all right, but it gets kind of old kind of fast here. I think I need to turn it up a little bit, or do I? Anyway, maybe it's just I just need to reboot, but yeah. So that's Team Rolling Guy. There tend to be like between 6 and 8. I think maybe 5 to 8 members per team, sometimes more. And you basically have to beat all of them for the most part until you can advance, or not advance, but like you're done with that team and you never have to face them again. One thing unique to this game out of the entire franchise is that not all of the team members will show up for every given team, and that's because some like the higher ups in the team, quote unquote, they'll only come out after you beat like the lackeys, or like the lower team members, and if they'll come out depending on the record that you have against those team members. Like one will only come out if you have like you've beaten every other member without a loss, or like if you've lost to every other team member, one will come out. Or if you have one loss, you have like a mixed record, another one will come out. So it's actually impossible to beat all of the rivals in this game on one playthrough. So I mean, I don't know, it doesn't really affect the game that much. It's just, if you're a completionist, it's a little annoying seeing that you can beat a team without beating them 100%, Not really a big deal, though. just a little. That's unique to this game. In the other games, you have to beat all of them because all of them will show up no matter what. Now, if this is that same Wander, I mean, it'd be kind of lame. You know, I think I've only battled two. Two real rivals so far, and I've already taken a lap around the C1. So, if you'll notice, the C1's like pretty turn heavy, lots of sharp twists, and lots of like you have to be pretty careful with your cornering. And I think that makes the C1 and the Shinkanjo the other side of the circuit, which I'm going to access after I beat the C1. That makes these two circuits, or these two stretches of highway, probably the most difficult in the game. It wouldn't be the most difficult. It would be fine if the wall physics weren't so unforgiving. I mean, you've probably seen it already when I've hit cars, or not cars, walls or barriers in this game. I lose so much speed, and two, it kind of like sucks you in. If you hit a wall in this game, and you know, it's like you can't hit a wall just once. It has to, like, you have to hit it multiple times, you know? See, like, look at that. Maybe I'm just, like, a terrible driver or something, but I lost, like, 30 miles an hour, and I was stuck there for like, a little bit. So, yeah, like, walls suck, and since you're on the C1 with all those curves, you're, like, bound to run into them, and they've lost me so many races, I probably can't even count. That said, these rolling guys are like pretty easy, so that even if you do hit a wall, they're probably so far behind that it doesn't really matter. But once you start racing faster, teams, then this will happen, like sooner rather than later. Even though my S14 will probably hold out for a good amount of time. Oh crap! Dang, I did not mean to go that way. Well, that sucks. Maybe I can turn around. I know it'll like reverse me, but damn it. Yeah, okay, fine. I'm just gonna go back to the garage then. Even though I only got 2 victories that day, or 3 victories, I guess. I kind of wanted to get an entire team down in a day, but it's alright. I'll just go back out. Like I was saying, like, as you race faster and faster teams, those wall physics become more and more of a hindrance, and I'll be pretty relieved once I get into the later parts of the game, because then you can be less careful with your driving. You can rely more on like your speed. There are more straightaways, that kind of thing. But I guess it's okay. Like the first half of the game is the hardest, because it means like if you beat the first half, you can definitely beat the second half, provided that you have the right car. Anyway, I'm gonna try and finish Team Rolling Guy today. Hopefully they're all like circling the C1 right now, but I guess we'll see. And I mean, after I do like a lap around this, I know like the free roam portion of this game can get it can be like a bit of a drag to watch, because like I'm not doing anything, and oh, okay. Like I was saying, I'm not doing anything, and like I'm just kind of just making my way to the next rival. It can be a bit of a grind, so I'm probably gonna end up, after I do like a full lap around C1 and the other stretches of highway, the other circuits, I'm probably just gonna skip over them. Just like show it once to see what it's like, and then skip over them, because I think that part can be a little bit of a drag. That was part of the reason I was hoping to like turn left there instead of right, but I just wasn't paying attention. Anyway, this is Comeback Kid from another fairly easy team on the C1, Little Gang. They all, I don't really know like what like their theme is. I know because like Rolling Guy has like the Toyota, like the really cheap Toyotas. These guys, I don't know, but like all I know is like they don't really customize that much. That guy did have a nice Mitsubishi Eclipse though, which is one of the better B-class cars in this game. I would have bought it if it was a starter, personally. I think that would have been pretty cool, but as it is, I already spent all my money on the S14. Although I guess if I could like save up a bit of money, buy the Eclipse. As it is, I guess we'll see. But I do kind of want to save up my money for the A-class car that I will inevitably purchase. Anyway, it looks like it might be a while before I get around to beating Rolling Guy, so because I've already beaten 3 Rolling Guys. I think I've beaten 2, 4, and 5 now, or was it 2, 3, and 5? They all have like the most unoriginal names. I mean, it's just 1 through 6 for each team member, so it's hard to distinguish them. Even harder because they all drive the same car, or similar cars. I can almost never tell the difference. Um, Anyways, moving on here, you'll see that like the two circuits, if you haven't seen by now, they overlap. So I'm going to inevitably run into some teams that aren't from C1, and sometimes they'll want to challenge me, and I'm just like, oh, I guess I'll race you, you know. Even though I do want to beat all of the C1 first before I do anything else, but you know, it's all right. Not too much of a hindrance. I hope this guy. No, she is from. Oh no. Okay, thought that was from a different Shinkansen team, but this is Lazy Bones from Little Gang, and driving a Honda Civic hatchback. Looks can actually be pretty deceiving because that's one of the best C-Class cars in this game. I actually tested it out after I beat the game once, and look at that lag. There's nothing I can do about it. It runs at like half the speed. Anyway, as I was saying, the Honda Civic hatchback is one of the best cars in the C-Class. It can get like once you unlock all the parts for it, which you admittedly don't do until you pretty much the second half of the game. But once you do unlock those, that thing can hit like speed of 200 miles an hour, and that's kind of the norm once you get up to those levels. But 200 seems like a lot now. I mean, my S14 is doing the job, and it's only doing like 125, which is good. I'm nothing to complain about. But I mean, I just didn't really want to like buy a C-Class car and then have to buy a B-Class car like halfway through. I want this S14 to take me like pretty far into the playthrough, and hopefully hold off buying an A-Class car until, you know, the second stage, at which point it becomes like almost necessary. So that's 2 members of Little Gang done. Hopefully, you know, I think I've beaten 3 rolling guys, 2 Little Gangs. I think there's like a couple more C1 inner teams, but they probably won't come out for the next few days. It's too early in the game for me to tell. And I know like this playthrough is running kind of. I don't want to make it longer than like 30 minutes per episode. That already seems like a lot. But so if some editing is necessary, I'll cut out like the parts where I just sit there or something, or like parts where I'm just driving around free roam. Anyway, looks like another Little Gang driving a Corolla 8E. I think that's a newer Corolla. This is the Snake, and I got stuck behind that truck. Watch this. Yeah, just it stays in that animation until like I'm close enough, and if it doesn't, like it just eventually brings you back to the free roam screen. But looks like I caught up, and this shouldn't be. Oh my gosh, what a jerk. He braked right in front of me. Didn't really need that. Happened again. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I should be ahead of him by now, but it's alright, you know. He seems like a pretty aggressive driver. I think like the AIs in this game they're different. They have like a couple of different driving styles. Some are like really passive, and they're like, oh my gosh, he ran me right into the wall. But like some of them are like pretty passive. But some of them are like this guy, kind of jerks. I mean, not one to complain. Sometimes I do whatever it takes to win, but blocking in this game is not that effective if someone's faster than you, then they're gonna get ahead of you, like, more often than not, especially if it's just on a straightaway, there's no, like, obstacles, that kind of thing. And, I mean, it was kind of demonstrated there, but, when I was talking about the wall physics earlier, they kind of screw you over because you slow down like a ridiculous amount. They like suck you in. But for the AI, it doesn't do anything. Like they can just ram it. I've seen this crazy aggressive AI just ram into the walls when they're ahead of me and just, they barely lose any speed for it. It's ridiculous. And I think like that was like Genki's response to the original Tokyo Xtreme Racer, which I admittedly never played, but I have seen gameplay, and I think that those wall physics were like, you could abuse them. I mean, you can abuse them in every other TXR game except this one, but you could really abuse him. You just kind of bounced off like you were just like like your car had like maximum resistance or what have you. It was pretty funny. And like other TXR games, especially TXR 0, have like almost those same physics except with more of a SP penalty. So you can kind of abuse it there too, but I guess they were like, that was kind of the backlash. They're like, okay, you know, the game's kind of a lot easier now because you can just ram into walls and you don't have to worry that much about cornering, but this game really puts an emphasis on cornering, and that makes it one of the more difficult TXR games. See, even, I mean, I didn't take that corner. That was not the best cornering, but like still, you know, I still hit the wall, and I mean, I really suffered for it, so. And like that combined with like the AIs, they don't have a penalty when they hit the wall. It makes this game like kind of unfair, you know. It's a real source of frustration sometimes when you drive really well and you end up losing because like, you know, you cornered the best you could. Sometimes you corner and you don't even hit the wall and the AI still passes you. You know, you kind of have to have that perfect balance between the loss of speed and your loss of speed and like. Yeah, basically your loss of speed and your, or you can't lose too much speed is what I'm trying to say. But the AI doesn't care about that, that's not even a factor for them, so hence the unfairness. But that's not a problem right now, because rolling guy is really easy, and we finally encountered oh, this is number 3, I thought he was number 5. But yeah, number 3, driving an orange, what is that, Corolla 11? I think that's an old Corolla 11. The only way, like I said earlier, I swear I'm getting like my dialogue in this, or my monologue in these playthroughs mixed up. I don't remember if I've said this already, because I've done this like 3 times, but the only way I can tell the difference is from the tail light, or from the headlights. I know the Sprinter Terreno has like the pointed up, the triangle headlights, but the Corolla 11 has like the flat headlights. Easy win. I think there's one more rolling guy left. That would probably be rolling guy number 6, who we haven't found yet. Hopefully he's that blue arrow, though, that's about to show up. If not, I'll just probably keep going on my way. And I've done a lap around the C1, so I'm actually going to cut this. Yeah. Alright, we're back. And it looks like last one before the leader comes out. This is rolling guide number 6, and little feature of this game. I think one member of every team and some wanderers will challenge you if you get in front of them instead of the other way around, because usually you have to be the one who challenges. I mean, that's pretty beneficial because, you know, you get a head start, and really any like sort of help is ridiculously useful in this game. So I mean, not really a big problem with number 6 here because he's pretty scrubby, but yeah, like I always try to like get in front just to see if they'll challenge you or not. And some wanderers do this too if they're aggressive enough. But rolling guy number 6, and it says boy. I know it says boy. It does for like all of them. So I think that was just a translation error because their team's obviously rolling guy. But rolling boy goes down pretty easily. And so I've beaten 2 through 6, so, you know, it's pretty much only one left, and pretty obviously, and the leader actually comes out, like, right away after you've beaten all of the other team members, and you can tell because there's no autopilot, and here he is, rolling guy number 1, driving a Corolla 11, and, I mean, from the start, you know, he's put a bit of, I mean, 2 did as well, number 2 did, but, oh my gosh, he hit the divider. Yeah, so I'm probably going to have to challenge him, because he's not going to catch up in time or something. Yep, it kind of sucks. I wanted a head start, but, you know, it's whatever. Let's slow down a bit. Alright, let him pass me. No, that's not him, that's just an AI car. Yeah, there he is. I kind of wanted a head start, but, and, like, leaders, you know, by principle are faster than pretty much all of the other, the regular teammates. He's definitely done some customizations to his car, but since he's a rolling guy, he should still go down pretty easily. And so you get the same whole animation again. But you get some new custom leader music, you know, I have no idea what's going on. Awesome. And yes, I mean, he's holding his own for now, and he does pretty good at blocking, doesn't want me to get in front of him. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, I don't think I've ever lost to a rolling guy to. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You know, I kind of deserve that for saying that. But yeah, since there are multiple routes available, if like you or your opponent takes the other route instead of like settling the race or deciding the race as a win or a loss, it's a draw, and then it's basically a loss because you have to go and challenge them again. Um, you know, kind of sucks. Um, I have gotten a couple of draws against that guy before. Like I think in this game and in TXR3, which is funny because it's just you're delaying the process. You know, he's so easy, but anyway, I'm gonna go back, and when that kind of thing happens, when you lose or you get a draw to a leader, they don't go and appear on the highway right away. You have to go and beat like pretty much any other, any team member. It could be a team member of Rolling Guy, could be a team member of any other team. Um, so this isn't going to be a Rolling Guy since defeated rivals show up as green arrows, as you've probably already seen. Um, Maybe a little gang. I don't think I've beaten enough little gang. But regardless, I think even if unless little gang's leader comes out right after this, um, then I'm gonna just beat rolling guy, the rolling guy leader, go back to the garage. Oh, okay, this is not little gang. This is one of the third of 5 initial C1 inner teams. Knife and forks. I mean, their like thing, their whole shtick is that they're all like they they're all either employees or they own like this one restaurant in Japan or whatever. And yeah, I mean, do restaurant employees make good drivers or good race car drivers, good street racers? I guess according to this game, the answer is no because I mean this guy's pretty easy. Their leader's like decent though; he can actually put a bit of a fight, but the lackeys are just they leave a bit to be desired. Um, this is the technician, by the way, driving a Honda Prelude. Um, I don't think it's that good. I think it's cool, nice 2-door, but uh, nothing really impressive about it. I've test driven it before in this game. It's just not that impressive. So yeah, I've beaten any one member, and here comes Rolling Guy number 1 for his rematch. I guess is it my rematch or is it his rematch? Because he was the one that basically cut off the race for everyone, and I'm scared because it might happen again. Um, Kind of my policy about races, by the way. I know that like watching the same race over and over again can get pretty tedious, as can honestly a lot of stuff about racing games, like the unglamorous stuff, like repeating races or just driving around, roaming around. It can be kind of boring to watch. So I think I'm gonna do every race a max of. Okay, I think he went the right way this time, even though I hit that car. Yeah, and he's catching up. See, he actually can put a bit of a fight. But I'm gonna do every race a maximum of 3 times, and so that like it's not like if I lose a race once, you're gonna be like, oh, he's easily gonna win that next time. There's no suspense involved. Um, I guess if you watch it the 3rd time, that still has the same issue, but um, I'll try not to let it get to that. I mean, unless it's like stuff that I have a feeling I'm gonna take more than a few losses in this part. Um, since my car can only get upgraded so far, there are only so many parts that I can unlock before it caps out. Um, but looks like rolling guy number 1's finally going down. Hopefully this is the only race that I need to record, the only other race I need to record, because we're running pretty long here. Like we're going, I think 35 minutes maybe. But yeah, and with that, that is it. The leader gives out a little better payout. I mean, I actually didn't see the amount there. Maybe I think it was still less than 1,000, which kind of sucks. But you know, you gotta take. The payouts in this game aren't the greatest. So that's day 2. 10 wins, not bad. No losses yet. Although I'm sure that's going to change soon. And I think I'm going to end the part here. This is a good place to stop. So I will be back next time.